Welcome to the Digital Marketing News. I'm Tiffani Allen, and these are your top stories for the week. A new study from Backlinko and BuzzSumo analyzed 912 million blog posts and how their content relates to social shares and backlinks. Some really interesting findings here include that long-form content gets an average of 77% more links than shorter form content, and when it comes to social shares, longer form content also wins, but when that content gets above about 2,000 words, you start to see diminishing returns. So what does this mean? Of course, from a content promotion standpoint, the content should be long enough to keep a reader's attention and have robust information, but from a social standpoint, you don't necessarily want to spend too much time on the actual length of the blog post versus having it be a little bit more shareable, snackable, and that sort of thing. 94% of all blog posts have zero external links. So again, in terms of a content promotion strategy, you want to make sure that you're writing content that's generating links and employ some kind of link building strategy along with that to see the best success for those posts. And just for your awareness, certain content formats appear to work best for acquiring backlinks. So why posts and what posts are performing better than videos and how-to posts in terms of generating those backlinks. So when it comes to content that you really want to promote, if it's the key piece of your campaign, something to think about in terms of format. Another survey was launched this week, so a new survey from HubSpot. This will be really interesting for B2B marketers in particular. They did a survey on email lead capture, and they found some really interesting stats about forms and kind of who's using them and that sort of thing. So number one key learning here is that forms aren't dead. If you're a B2B marketer, I'm sure you have at least a few forms that you manage as part of your campaigns, as part of your website, but 74% of marketers are using web forms for lead generation, and about 50% of marketers say that web forms are their highest converting lead generation tool. So it doesn't necessarily get into what sort of content is behind that form, if it's a demo request, if it's a download, those sorts of things, but it is something to think about as you're trying to generate leads for your brand. How are you going to collect their information? So the average length of a web form in 2019 is still 5 fields. So years ago that was the best practice. It still remains to be the most common practice. But something to think about too is that multi-step forms convert about 86% higher. So if you have 5 form fields, something to think about too is, do you have them enter their email and then fill out the rest? Is that going to get you more conversions out of the gate or not? Folks are pressed for time, just something to consider there. And then of course, the last point I wanted to point out here is that data-driven marketers are outpacing everyone, according to this study. So again, as you're creating your campaigns, as you're creating your marketing strategies, really use data, both your own in terms of performance and third-party in terms of kind of giving your points credibility to make sure that you know what you're doing and you know it will work to a certain extent, and how you'll measure whether or not it's successful. So the last thing I want to tell you about this week is that if you are going to be in the Scottsdale, Arizona area next week for B2BMX, don't miss Lee's presentation. So he's giving a presentation on how to break free from boring B2B. I don't know if you saw the asset on the blog. If you haven't, you should take a look. There's a bear with laser eyes. There's a cat drinking some kind of blue liquid. It's pretty neat, full of great advice and things to think about as you start to promote and create great content from a B2B standpoint. If you're going to be there, great. I'm sure the team will see you. Otherwise, you can stay tuned on Twitter at TopRank to see some updates from the event, or follow me at Tiffani_Allen, as I'll be retweeting all of that. Otherwise, we will see you next week. Check out the TopRank blog if you need more news, and we'll see you later.